Entrepreneurs are masters at pushing through late nights, back-to-back meetings, chasing growth. But what happens when your emotional battery runs out? Today's guest says you don't need huge lifestyle overhauls to avoid burnout. Instead, she's built her coaching practice on something refreshingly doable. Self-care snacks, small sustainable shifts that keeps you energized while building your dream. This is going to hit home for every entrepreneur listening because we have many entrepreneurs that jump on for attention as the currency. Amanda Bearce is the founder of Simply Wellness. With Amanda, and a fitness and wellness coach who helps entrepreneurs and women protect their energy and avoid burnout. After leaving corporate life, Amanda built a practice rooted in real world self care, not the Instagram version, but practical tools you can actually use when you're building a business. She's been featured on podcasts like Battle Harder and Authenticity at Work, and she's passionate about help teaching and helping entrepreneurs how to recharge before they crash. Amanda, welcome to Attention is the Currency.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you on here, and I know the entrepreneurs are just they're waiting to hear the all the news and how to make sure because I know while being an entrepreneur myself for over 20 years, I know
Mhm.
that we all hit the burnout points and we got to have those strategies in place beforehand.
Absolutely. Very important.
So, Amanda, what was the breaking point that made you realize corporate life wasn't sustainable for you?
Oh my gosh. I was really in a role that wasn't the right role for me. And so every day I would end my day wondering if this was what the next 15, 20 years of my life were going to look like, were going to feel like. And I was constantly on the lookout of, what could I do that would feel better, that would feel more authentic to me, that would not make me feel, like I wanted to poke myself in the eye on meetings just to try to keep focused and pay attention. So it was really the combination of that not being a good fit for the position that I was in and not taking care of myself. And those two together did not did not go well. I was really struggling.
So the entrepreneurial journey, and how did you uh, burn out? How did burnout show up in your life physically, mentally, and emotionally?
Oh my gosh, I had so much tension. I was exhausted. I had anxiety nonstop. I mean, I've always been actually now not so much, but I had always been a pretty anxious person. But I got to the point where every time I was in the shower, I felt like I was going to have a serious anxiety attack. Or I shouldn't say I felt like I was having anxiety attacks because that was like the one place that I couldn't distract myself or block out all the things that were happening or things that I wanted to change that I wasn't making changes to. I was, you know, not connected to myself in any way. I didn't even know what I liked to do anymore, what felt good, how to find calm. It was just kind of a disaster.
Yeah. And what was the first small shift that actually worked for you in that stage?
In that stage, the first shift that worked for me was really prioritizing exercise. That was the biggest thing or the first thing that I felt comfortable asking for time for. And, not asking even from anybody else, but just myself. Is it okay if I spend time on exercise? And there's so many benefits to exercise that are so well known that that was a place I think I felt comfortable saying, like, yes, you can do this. Even though I had I think it was I just one at the time when I started exercising, a young daughter. And so I felt really a lot of guilt about taking time away from her outside of work since she was already at daycare all day. But that was the one thing where I was like, okay, this is best for both of us. This is better for me in the long run. And then once I started taking the time for that, and that was a solid routine, I saw how it improved other areas of my life and began to feel more comfortable making other practices a priority too, because I had that momentum, I think. But exercise was the first step that I took that I really felt the difference, saw how it made an impact not only in my work life, but in my home life.
Yeah, the true mind's shift set.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
is a And you teach self-care snacks. What exactly do you mean by that?
This is my favorite thing. Self-care snacks are little ways that you can be intentional about implementing self-care through your day to day. We don't always have time for a full day to take care of ourselves or even a full hour, but we can't go weeks without focusing any attention on taking care of ourselves. So how can we implement these little ways throughout our workday or on, our busy weeknights where we can still give ourselves some time to recharge or find some calm or whatever it is that we need. So there are these little fun ways that we can kind of, we might not have time for that full meal, but we can take 5 minutes to take a break from all of our devices and check in with ourselves, maybe read a chapter of a book. But the thing is, since they're so simple, they do require intention because it's easy to do them, but it's even easier not to do them.
I guess from what you said before, the guilt could creep in if you're in the early stages
Mm,
of the shift.
absolutely. That's a big one that I hear is a lot of like, well, I feel bad doing that. Well, I should be doing other things. Well, I have to do this first. That's not always the case. We can take the time to give ourselves 5, 10, 15 minutes to take care of ourselves and then watch the difference in the productivity for the rest of your day or the rest of your week. And you're making up that 5, 10, 15 minutes in the improved focus, in the improved creativity, in the better leadership or communication that we have when we've taken the time to take care of ourselves.
The evidence of the success.
Yes.
And why do you think so many entrepreneurs believe self-care requires a big overhaul?
I think that's just because that's what we see everywhere. Where everywhere you look, it's like, I have this plan that'll work for you, and I'm starting this challenge on Monday. And all of these things that we see are hours and hours worth, which is cool if that works for you. But most of the people I know, especially entrepreneurs, not just entrepreneurs, most people have very busy lives. So if we want something to be realistic and to work for us for more than a couple days, then we've got to make it things that can fit in our existing lives.
Yeah, well, definitely. Well, as an entrepreneur myself, we definitely get bombarded with quick fixes all the
Uh-huh.
time, but it drives me
Oh,
nuts. And
yes.
because
The quick
everything,
fix.
yeah, the quick fix, everything's a quick fix. You can all of a sudden overnight turn your business into six figures a day.
Oh, the ads that I get like that, I'm like, really? Really?
Yeah, that's it. Well,
Um,
we know that it's compounding. It's very much a compounding effect when you
oh,
build it.
yeah.
But and can you give some real examples of these quick practical tools as well?
Yes. So one I think I mentioned was the taking a screen break. I think that's a really big one that a lot of us aren't doing. We are going directly from our laptops to our phones to, whatever it may be, and we're in front of devices all day, every day. So taking, 5, 10 minute break, giving your eyes a break, your brain a break from the screens. Also getting outside is a good one. Just sitting in the sun for 5 minutes, going on a walk and paying attention to, not thinking about the meeting you just had or the next meeting that you have coming up, but paying attention to, what color is the sky today? Are there clouds? What color are the leaves on the trees right now? One that a client mentioned to me recently that she tried out that I hadn't even thought about before was taking a walk barefoot through grass and really taking the time to slow down and feel the way that that feels. And a lot of these things are bringing us into the moment that we're in, which is really helpful. I think all of those examples that I just gave were nature examples, but they don't have to all be nature examples. You could do things like building Legos for a couple of minutes. I have some clients that in their desk have like a little Lego kit and they just get the creativity flowing. It's a different, like a kind of a shift for the brain, gets them away from work, but still doing something that's interesting for their brain. Um, Things that get their creativity flowing, doing some quick doodling or drawing, gratitude journaling, just really thinking about what we need in that moment. So checking in, I'm either exhausted, I need some energy, I'm anxious and I would like some calm. And finding the things that work for you in those little moments that can be done quickly and easily. I've got some clients that take coloring books around with them, some that practice faith in those little chunks of time, but finding those things. And so it's fun when you're getting into it to experiment with different things like, oh, I actually really like building Legos. I never knew or haven't done it since I was a kid. And experiment, find what works for you, find what doesn't, and just roll with that.
Yeah. Well, we get to remember that life is beautiful and it's not all about the work.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And another thing I'd like to think about too is, of course, our businesses can feel like our babies. You know, we spend so much time and pour so much of ourselves into it, but we are such important resources for our business. So if we're not taking care of ourselves, what does that do for our business in the long run? I know personally, I'm showing up best for my clients when I have taken care of myself.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I've felt that in the last few weeks. I shared with you a bit before, and
Yeah.
where I sort of took the downtime and the business did drop. But
Hmm.
when I've brought myself back up to full speed, I'm going really at full speed and getting things back and going because we got to
Yeah.
in the right space. And
Yeah, we do. And it's okay to take that time to rest and recover. We're not meant to go all day, every day without breaks. It's
yeah,
just not sustainable.
we get yeah, we're not AI.
No, certainly not. And thankfully, not either.
Thankfully not. Well, it's great to be human for sure.
Yes. Yeah, AI can't notice what's going on in the sky today, all of these beautiful things that we can notice as humans.
It can't appreciate the things.
Hmm.
And how do you coach people to set boundaries when everything feels urgent?
That's a great question. We usually start just by looking at what's on our list that can come off of it. Is there anything that can be delegated? Are there things that we're doing out of some obligation that don't actually need to happen, either obligation to someone else, or sometimes we have these obligations to ourselves that we kind of need to let go of? So we usually start with that. What can come off the list? How to say no. There are a lot of people that are, when we talk about taking things off their list, have this look of like, I have never told anybody no in my entire life. So getting comfortable saying no or finding different ways that they can say no where it feels a little bit maybe more gentle or more realistic for them. And really taking a look at what's important in their life. There are not enough hours in the day to do everything. So if we want to make sure that we have the energy to show up as a present version of ourselves at the things that we truly want to be at, there are realistically things that have to be cut out.
Yeah, that's really great advice, and I wish I heard that before a couple of years ago when I started to sort of shift things around. Because I always like the saying now that just because you can doesn't mean you should. And
Yes.
that's what I continue
Hmm.
to say to myself when when I am delegating because I'm in a
Hmm.
delegation based business.
Yeah, it's so true. And another one that I like is, if you weren't a part of this already, how hard would you work to be a part of it? And sometimes for me, I'm like, oh, I have this thing on my calendar, but if it wasn't already there, I would make no effort to be a part of it. So that's a sign that it needs to come off, that it's not something that I should be taking part in.
Yeah, yeah,
And
100%.
sometimes it's hard, it's uncomfortable saying no to things. It's uncomfortable not committing to things when people are used to you committing to everything, but it's realistically, if for the long run, so important and better for our well-being. And then there's also the flip side where sometimes it's things that we want to do, but it's just not good timing. So learning how to say no so that we're not running ourselves into the ground in those situations tue.
But then, yeah, well, it's definitely committing after that because you've taught you have trained other people how to treat you in that sense. And,
Absolutely. Yep. The
yeah,
beginning stages can be hard.
that's why they should hire a good coach.
Yes.
And what role does movement, mindfulness, or even breath work play in your approach? Because you have touched a bit on that before, but I thought it's still a good question to put in
Yeah.
to highlight.
I think it really depends on the person. So I like to do my coaching is very client led. So I'm not going to tell anybody exactly what to do, but instead we work together to co-create the plans for them. Of course, if they're having struggles with ideas or things like that, I have plenty of things that we can try and do. And those I truly believe are really important ones, but they look different for different people. So, movement. Some people like to be in the gym. Some people would rather ride their bikes. So finding what are those things that are appealing to different people. And the same thing with breath work. Some people love the idea of sitting on a meditation pillow for 20 minutes in complete stillness and silence. Other people prefer, how can I work like short intentional breathing into my day to day? Or can I incorporate intentional breathing with movement through something like yoga? So, really just finding out what works for different people, because people hear a lot of, oh, this worked for me, or my best friend said that this worked, and it doesn't work for them. And then they feel guilty or like something's wrong with them. But it's not about what worked for, me or what works for you. It's about finding what specifically works for each individual. So I think, I mean, I do believe that those are all very important for everybody, but it's all about finding exactly what way that works for each person.
Yeah. Well, it's yeah. Well, I always love that because that's where coaching does come in to the
Hmm.
work because you can Google forever and not find something
Oh,
that's personalized to you, and
hmm.
that's where the work definitely comes in. So,
Yes.
how did you identify a shift when you left corporate to build your own business?
Mm. I actually left, well, when I originally became a coach, I was still working my corporate job and I had no desire to start my own business. I thought I want to go work for a company that does coaching. When I'm board certified and when I was getting my board certification, I was like, well, I have to do these hours. I might as well start a business so I could get paid while I'm doing them. Makes sense. I'm doing it anyways. And then I started realizing if I worked for a company, I have to coach them in this specific way that they want me to. And that wasn't what I felt fulfilled by necessarily. And just kept on rolling with it. We're almost 4 years in right now. So it feels good. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Love it.
No, it definitely is. Well, well, with a bit of experience myself, well, I don't coach people, but I know you got to find your own personal style.
Oh, yeah.
Because it comes across more authentic and because
Hmm.
and having those and it being able to take something from each place to make a hybrid model is always
Yes. Yeah. And it took a while to find my real where I feel the best coaching, I think. At the beginning, I very much started more specifically about food and moving your body. And of course, those are very important parts of your wellness. That is just the tip of the iceberg. I have, even though I thought I knew it all, that's why I went into wellness coaching. I've learned so much more about wellness. And those things are everywhere. Everywhere you look, you can see nutrition and movement, but there's all these other little pieces of the puzzle. And that's where my true passion is, in all the other things that are often overlooked.
well, that's definitely what you've shared with us today because you've it's those small compounding effects. It's not a full overhaul. You don't just
Yep.
come out as the up here. You climb
Hmm.
up the tower.
Yeah. And you can feel it and see those baby steps of improvement along the way. And they're just, they're enough to make a difference, but not so much that you feel overwhelmed and drained by adding these other things on top of your list. And a lot of them are enjoyable. So it's, kind of what I talk about, romanticizing it almost like it's not like, oh, I have to go do this. It's, oh, yeah, I get to go do my doodling right now or whatever it is that you've picked. And it kind of gets you excited to start trying these new things. And then you're feeling the difference and it's boosting your well being and having that impact on your work too. So it's really fun.
Yeah, no, I love that because it's always those little, it's always the little things, and I
Yeah.
think that's where, well, that's why I always love to dive deep into this in our conversations because often we are overwhelmed by bold promises and everything.
Hmm.
It's always
Yep.
always comes down to the compounding effect.
Yes, it does.
What limiting beliefs do you see entrepreneurs holding on about rest and productivity? I think that's another one to really hone in on still.
Yes. I see the belief that if they stop to take care of themselves, then their business will fail. A lot of the times I will hear variations of the statement, but I'm all my business has. So if I stop, then my business will stop. Or, if I take a vacation, then my business will drop off, or I won't have it, my next month will be awful. And these fears that if they take time away from their business to take care of themselves, then their business is just going to crumble. But a lot of the times I love to hear stories of, I actually took 2 weeks off in July and my August was better than ever. And then we talk about why. Well, I came back and I was more refreshed. I had more energy when I was at networking events. I was connecting with my clients. I was more focused. Like all of these things. Yes, these are the things that happen when we take care of ourselves. And of course, that's not always the case. Not every time that you take time off, your business is booming after that, but it happens
Yeah.
frequently, which is really cool to see.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, not every setback is bad as well, because it's
Yeah.
also exposing those things
Hmm.
and re-systemizing. Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll come back with new ideas for their businesses, and it's because they've given their brains a break. When we're overloading our brain with information all day every day, it doesn't have any time to think. That's about other things and be creative and brainstorm. That's why people have all these ideas when they're in the shower, because that's the only time the entire day that they've taken time where they were not, you know on a screen, going from meeting to meeting or meeting to practice or whatever it looks like for them. But they give themselves that time, and then they come back with new ideas. They come back refreshed. They have new plans or see solutions that they weren't seeing before. It's it's exciting.
It is. And how do you personally reset when life feels overwhelming? What is there? Because well, I know you talk about uh, planning on it before burnout.
Hmm. I actually had a week, not quite near burnout, but where the beginning of this week I started feeling that tension and anxiety spiking. And it's because I have a very small social battery, which is very tricky to be in a service-based business with that.
I know. I feel.
But yeah, so what I'll do is I'll be really intentional about doing those things that I know recharge me. And for me personally, alone time, taking time where there's not anybody else in my house, where I can just do what feels good to me at that time. And I do it every single week. Well, I shouldn't say every single. There are, of course, occasions where it doesn't happen, but it truly is something that I very much prioritize. But this week, once I felt that, I knew I needed to find time to make that happen more. So I did. And while at the beginning, did have a little thought of, there are other things that I should be doing. And I reminded myself, if I do this, I will feel better and it will be better. And I took that extra. So I had double the time this week that I normally take. And I felt so much better. Even though I hadn't done anything productive during that time, that's not what it was about. It was about taking care of my energy, giving myself that time to recharge. I didn't even do anything crazy. I did a puzzle, listened to a podcast, and did a puzzle for an hour, and came out of it feeling so much more charged and ready to take on the rest of the things that I had this week.
Yes. Us introverts out here being extroverted.
It's tiring. I always say my personal or my social battery is the size of a Skittle.
Yeah.
And and I feel like I use it all with business interactions. So then afterwards I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to do what?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, I know, but it's always possible though. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're out here setting the standard is always the thing, and
Yes.
showing that it's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. And I mean, I love it too, but it does make me tired. So I do have to look ahead at my calendar and I'll see, okay, that's a week that's very people heavy. We got to block off some time, or even I'll tell my family ahead of time. Like actually, tomorrow I'll be uh, doing social stuff for, I think, 5 hours. And so I'll tell my family before I leave, hey, when I get home today, I'm going to need some time by myself. And then when I come out, I'm all good. But if I don't, then I feel drained and I'll go into the weekend drained and be exhausted. And it's really nice because my kids are older. They're 13 and 10 now, and they see the difference. Whereas before, they would kind of come in every 5, 10 minutes, and it didn't have the, I didn't get that same benefit. But now they'll be like, okay, if we let you be for half an hour, I know you'll come out and be ready to interact with us. So it's finding those things. Like I know that that's something that works for me. However, when I was in my corporate job, I had no clue. Not that was not a tool that I had. I had no idea that that's something that would help me. So it's,
Yeah, we
but
just
it's something that's been so beneficial. Yeah.
yeah, well, we just tend to push through is always the thing, which
Yeah.
is to our detriment. And
Yes.
rest, I think everyone can take it from that. Rest time is an investment,
Oh,
not a waste of time.
absolutely not. So important.
If someone's listening right now, stuck in overdrive, what's one thing they can do today to feel a little lighter?
Mm, it's a great question. I would say slow down and just check in with yourself and ask yourself, what do I need right now? And do it. If it feels too overwhelming to do it, just just ask what you need and listen and use that information to plan going forward. So maybe it's that you do need a little bit more downtime and use that information to make time on your calendar where maybe you're blocking off time on your calendar or whatever that looks like. It might be that you need more sleep. Figure out how you can get more sleep if a power nap is not an option. But really slowing down and checking in. We don't have to go nonstop all day, every day. Our productivity is not tied to our worth. We can slow down. We can check in and see what we need.
Yeah. Or even when they're going for a lot of, because I know, well, sometimes they're dealing with clients that are going for financial pressures and or big
Mhm.
deals and things like that. But it's yeah, it makes a massive difference.
Oh, it does. Even, just taking 1 minute just to be in your own head or just kind of for a minute, that can make such a big difference.
And what are your sort of go-to self-care snacks when you got 5 minutes, when you've got an hour? Because you've,
If I have an hour, I'm probably there's three that are my go-tos. I'm building Lego. That's one of the examples that I use. Also puzzle
Hmm.
or reading. Reading is probably my go-to. That's one that I do every day. But those are my hour-long ones. My shorter ones would be a quick walk. Um, let's see, jamming out to my whatever song that feels like it'll pump me up at that moment in time. And this is a different one that I don't think I mentioned before, but I like to call it like a nourishing shower or a mindful shower. But just adding a couple extra minutes on to the shower. I hear so much about people, they want to shower, obviously to get clean. That's the purpose of a shower. But if we just slow down a little bit in that shower and, really feel the hot water on our skin, smell the sense of the body wash that we've picked out, and just really be in that moment, take a moment to be grateful for my body and all the things that it does for me.
Yeah.
And that's another one that I really like to do. It's either, I feel like it's a great way to start the day and it's a great way to wind down at the end of the day.
Well, people definitely. Well, I look forward to showers. As well, just to feel that fresh feeling.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Kind
I
of wash
appreciate it. Yeah.
off. But it's shocking how many people that I've had told me that they have their phone right outside the shower. And if they see it light up, they're like wiping off the steam so they can try to read it. Like, no, put your phone where you can't see it. We don't need to pay attention to our phone while we're in the shower. Take a moment.
Yeah. Oh, it's always so nice to go without the phone for a bit. It's
Yeah. Yes.
I've got two of them and they're both always next to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, but
I like to do.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know. Go ahead. You.
I was just gonna say I like for me personally, self-care snacks I prefer to have screen free. So I know like some people will say like, oh, well, what if I play a game on my phone for a couple of minutes? I don't love that because then you're still seeing your emails come in, you're still seeing your text messages come in. Let's try to find things that are not our phone. I know that the developers do such a great job making them so addicting, but we got
Yeah.
to take a minute.
Well, mine are just covered in social media accounts. I just sort of
Oh yeah.
I sort of have some time where I just turn them on silent and just not check. Then I come back
Yes.
and sort it out. I think it's good to make a disclaimer that Amanda is not sponsored by Lego, but
No.
she may be open to that sponsorship.
Yes, I would be because I love to build Lego, but it does get pricey.
Yes. I think it would be a great partnership because I think you could be bringing Lego in for more because used to love Lego as a kid, and I think
Yeah,
more adults should be playing with Lego and still enjoying the magic of Lego.
they absolutely should. And it works perfectly as a self-care snack because you can do, they come in like bag one, bag two. You can do one bag at a time. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, that's it. Well, they're going to put you on the ad next. I can feel
I
it.
hope so.
We'll make sure we tag them in the episode.
Yes, I love it.
And what's the bigger vision you have for entrepreneurs learning these practices?
Oh, my big vision for entrepreneurs learning these practices is that they know that they can take care of themselves and their businesses. So that way they can thrive both personally and professionally. It's not fun to pour everything that you have into it and then not be able to enjoy your life outside of your business. And it is possible to do both. Of course, it's not perfect all the time, but in the big grand scheme of things, we want to be successful business owners, but also well as a human being.
Yeah. And anything exciting coming up for your business that we should be looking out for?
Ooh, not that I can think of that's open to the public at the moment. I do have some things coming up in January, but not enough details to really share right now, unfortunately.
We'll just have to stay tuned. And what's the best way people can
Yes.
get in touch with you and they want to start
The
working?
Yeah, the best way to get in touch with me is to go to my website, which is simplywellnesscoach.com, and sign up for my newsletter. There I send a weekly newsletter, but it's not overwhelming. It's short, it's sweet, it's actionable. So if you're looking to start making self-care a easy to implement part of your life, that's a great place to start. And also reply to my emails. I respond to everybody. I love to interact through those emails as well.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure we have the web address in the description as well, so you can click through. And Amanda, our signature close question of the interview is always: if attention is the currency, what should people stop wasting it on and start investing it in?
I love this question. People should stop wasting it on endless scrolling. Not saying you have to cut out scrolling completely, but make it shorter and start investing it in taking care of their well being, nurturing themselves one step at a time.
That's perfect. And a great way to close off. Amanda reminded us that you don't need to wait for burnout to hit rock bottom before making a change. Self-care doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be consistent. You can find out more about Amanda and her work at simplywellnesscoach.com. If you're building your business, remember protecting your energy isn't optional. It's a foundation for everything else, a true investment. Thank you again, Amanda, for being on the show today. No doubt, well, so much great value in this, and I'm excited for more people to find out.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.